What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Chris, and I'm back at it again with another banger video. You already know what I am reacting to, y'all. I want to get straight into it, so I just want to say, if you're new to this channel, go on and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to leave a like and comment something down below in the comment section, and go subscribe to the second channel. You know, the second reaction channel. You know, if you want to, I'm about to start dropping more bangers on there. Check it out. But yeah, we about to get into, what's it called? Swamp Stories, isn't it? Isn't that right? But yeah, let's get straight into it.
Welcome back to another episode of Swamp Stories. For this episode, we head out to the East Coast. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. You can also follow the Instagram page as well.
Oh my, bro, that water was good, man. My fault. Oh,
let's get to New York City, a place that Swamp Stories has barely covered. And for months, I've received hundreds of questions on why I haven't shown the East Coast any love. And in all honesty, I completely wrote off covering New York after checking the statistics on the city. I figured that the active days of New York City were done with and that everything is real quiet now. But after running across this wild story, I realized that not all of that was true. Of course, the numbers don't lie. And overall, New York City is extremely safe by American standards. And even by European standards, it would be considered generally safe as well. In fact, in 2018, it was rated the 11th safest city in the world, with the exact same rating as Barcelona, Spain. But here is the biggest flaw in the number.
I've been to Barcelona before, man. It's beautiful, man. I want to start traveling more, though. But if you are able to travel a lot, travel the world. Barcelona's beautiful, for real. Hot though, oh my gosh. They had like a heat wave too. But beautiful, it was worth it though. Food is A1. Not really hold you, but of course.
New York City has 8.4 million residents, making it by far America's biggest city. And on top of this, the vast majority of New Yorkers happen to be wealthy. So because of this, whatever is going on in the trenches is drowned out by the millions of residents who don't partake in this lifestyle. And as a result, New York City has a rate of just 4 per 100,000. That's 2 times lower than LA, 4 times lower than Portland, Oregon, 7 times lower than Chicago, and 18 times lower than New Orleans. But as I said before, this low number does not represent what's going on in New York City's most active areas. And none are worse than the area covered in this video. So in order for everything to make sense, let's head all the way back to the start. For those who aren't familiar, New York City has 5 boroughs, each of which having their own county and school system. And since the very beginning, the Bronx has always been the blue-collar borough. In the early 1920s, it was filled with factories and manufacturing centers. And this typically attracted immigrants from Ireland and most of Eastern Europe. And in 1930, the Bronx started attracting Puerto Rican and African American residents, specifically in the South and West Bronx. And here's how it played out. During the 1950s, New York City's housing authority built a ton of giant high-rise complexes throughout the Bronx. But the 1970s in the Bronx was not about the projects, and it mostly involved privately owned housing. So let me explain. In 1970, New York City passed what's known as Local Law 30, and essentially this made it nearly impossible for landlords to raise rent. And of course, this made them extremely frustrated. So the early 1970s brought a very coincidental trend. It seemed like every single day a mysterious fire was burning down another building. And this continued for an entire decade until 80% of the Bronx housing was completely gone. Now,
80% is crazy. And also, I love videos like this too, because like they actually like explain everything so we can fully understand. Like I love videos. I love when people make videos like this and they really get deep into it, and then they also have to have amazing visuals to show it too. So yeah, shout out to you. Shit, this is better than this is better than class.
Now you may be wondering, why did this happen? Well, at the time, the politicians blamed it on the local residents, pretty much saying that they're responsible for the implosion of their own neighborhood. neighborhood. This of course makes no sense, and what really happened was that the landlords were collecting insurance on the buildings, and then they either sold the land or reconstructed the building and charged higher rent. So by 1980, the Bronx was a complete mess with debris all over the streets, awful smells, dust, rats, roaches, and out of control crime. The destruction of the area had an undeniable effect on the people, and this is when the Bronx was officially considered New York City's worst neighborhood. And during this era, many will tell you that there were project rivalries all over the Bronx. And at this point, many residents in the Bronx had given up on life. They grew up sleeping with one eye open and ready to escape a building at any moment. And as we all know, this sort of upbringing can breed some wild people. And once the 70s babies were old enough to be out on their own, the Bronx started to really turn up. In fact, the early to mid 90s were New York City's worst era. They led the nation in homicides, and many of those took place in the Bronx. It even got to the point where tourists stopped visiting. And once it became known that New York was completely lawless, the government had had enough. Mayor Giuliani pretty much shut down New York City single-handedly. He started putting police on every corner and installing cameras everywhere. On top of this, he implemented the most strict laws in American history. So by 1990...
What is he doing? Nah. He better drop a song or something, cause ain't no way the beat should be that hard. Doom. That bug is bumping. What the fuck? He's trying to get a little deal.
1999, New York City's homicide rate decreased by 68%, and after numerous takedowns, total peace was restored in the Bronx. The structure of project rivalries were gone, and nearly everyone from the previous generation was locked up. Because of that, the new generation started making their own way, and it all started in 2003 with a man named Juther Perez, also known as Jew Hef. This guy was known for getting money throughout the Bronx and had plenty of guys rolling with him. He associated with two projects, Mott Haven and Patterson Homes. And with these two projects, he started the Young Gunners, also known as YGs. And by Jew Hef's side was always a man named Melly Mel Bala. And this guy was known for getting money as well. So at first, the YGs were just an alliance of guys getting money together. However, in 2009, everything fell apart. Rumors say that Jew Hef crossed Melly Mel behind his back, allegedly stealing money from him. So in typical New York fashion, Melly Mel was not going to put his pride to the side. He stood up against the boss and created his own group. That would be the original Goons, also known as OGs. And there's...
That's a hard name. I like it. That's a hard name.
His own
That's
group.
a hard name.
That would be the original Goons, also known as OGs. And they're centered in Melly Mel's neighborhood, known as Cortlandt Ave. But from there, the OGs expanded to other projects throughout the Bronx, such as Jackson and Morrisiana Homes. And of course, in return, the YGs expanded as well. So essentially what occurred is a giant divide in the Bronx between the OGs and the YGs. And in 2012, as more and more projects chose their side, there was one section that everyone was waiting on. That would be the River Park Towers, also known as RPT. And this project deserves more than a simple introduction. This is the most unique project in the whole country. It consists of one 44-story tower and one 38-story tower. Not only does the height catch you off guard, but look at these things. Ew, I can't tell if they look cool or if they want to make me gag. They...
Like, I'm looking like, what? Huh? Excuse me? Huh? What? Like, the shape really took me off guard.
Look like something I would have created in Minecraft when I was 12. And not only do they look strange, but the location is even stranger. The River Park Towers are cut off from the rest of the Bronx by train tracks and Highway 87. And on top of this, there is a giant parking garage in front of them and a water park on their right. But the coolest part is that you can walk right up to the Harlem River from the back of the project. It's really like its own little city of 5,000 residents, one way in and one way out. And since the very start, RPT have had possibly the slimiest reputation in the Bronx, so it only made sense for them to join the slimy YGs. Together, they became a force to be reckoned with, and all the madness started in 2014. So let me introduce you to RPT's biggest leader. That would be a man named Tyrone Felder, also known as Man Man. This guy is by far the wildest of the group, and you'll see why. In 2014, Man was desperate to get some money, and he decided to get it by any means. August 4th, 2014, Man meets up with 4 RPT members in the tower's hallways. They huddle around and create a big plan. So each of the 3 men are given a specific task. Tony Smalls, Kareem Martin, and Takeem Ewing. They decide that they need to get a car, and when I say get a car, I don't mean purchasing or renting one. So here's what they do. The 3 men call a cab to go meet up with Man. So the driver arrives, and Man asks him to take them to a final destination. The location happens to be a dead-end alley behind the projects. However, the driver doesn't think twice about it and heads out to the alley. And that's when the men get out and surround him. So the driver gets out of the car and walks away. But unfortunately, Man wants no witnesses. Bam! The 4 men hop in the cab and drive up to Yonkers. And for those who don't know, this is a suburb right above the Bronx. So when they arrive in Yonkers, it's time to get the money. They pull up to a McDonald's on South Broadway Street. So Man runs in and...
First of all, I'm gonna go back, but these beats is ridiculous, man. You gotta chill, bro. I'm loving this. I'm loving it.
The money. They pull up to a McDonald's on South Broadway Street. So Man runs in and gets the cash. But as he's running out...
Hey, y'all, I want to say my fault, man. The volume hasn't been up that loud. Bro, I've been chilling. My fault, bro. Alright. Look, beautiful lady. My fault, man.
It's on South Broadway Street. So Man runs in and gets the cash. But as he's running out, he turns around and realizes he forgot one thing. So he runs into the bathroom and grabs a bottle of bleach. He then hops in the car and heads down South Broadway Street. And as they're counting the cash, they realize that it's not that much. So Man pulls into a Dunkin' Donuts down the street. He runs in and does the same thing. And after this, they drive down to Yankee Stadium. They pull into the empty Yankees parking lot and put bleach all over the car. And then with all the money in their pockets, they take the metro back to the Bronx. Wow, that was a wild day that took an awful turn. You'd think that the guys would have an emotional reaction to what had transpired, but I guess not. Just 8 days later, RPT was back at it with the same plan. August 12th, 2014. The 4 men call a cab to come pick them up. So as the cab is leaving RPT, Man tells him to get out of the car. Instead, the driver puts his foot on the pedal and accelerates, and that's all it took. Bang. The car tumbles into a pole and the men get out and run to a nearby dumpster. But as they're getting rid of their clothes, Man remembers one thing. They forgot to put bleach on the car. So all 4 men quickly run back. But right there is NYPD. And here is where things get interesting. All 4 men go down. But NYPD does not know exactly who did what. So as usual, they offer each member a way out. First, they question Man, and he says, "Go talk to my lawyer, I don't have anything to say." Next is Kareem Martin, and he says the same thing. And after him, so does Takeem Ewing. But last up is Tommy Smalls, and he bit the cheese hard. Under a plea agreement, Tommy decided to share every single thing that happened, starting from the hallway meeting to the first cab incident to the McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, and everything on August 12th. Honestly, I think Tommy did the right thing, especially because everything in this situation was completely unnecessary. But what do you guys think? Was he supposed to take the time? Either way, it worked out for him because...
Okay. What y'all think? Nah, I just shook my head because, like, it was all... I assumed everybody was about to be locked in, bro. That's what hey, but they didn't. You always had you have the one person, but what y'all, but like, just think about it though. What y'all think? Hey.
He was able to get just 16 years with parole after 12. But on the other hand, everyone else was not so fortunate. Takeem Ewing got 36 years, Kareem Martin got 47, and finally, Man decided to take his innocence to trial. For whatever reason, he thought that he could prove his innocence. However, after a short trial, he received 47 years. The story flooded the mainstream news and earned RPT an even worse reputation throughout New York. And after this, a huge RPT takedown takedown occurred and all of this is irrelevant now. But today, RPT is even wilder than the past generation. The only difference is that now they're all the way focused on their rivals, and they have a whole lot of those, but none of them in the Bronx compared to a section in another borough. So let me explain. As the OGs kept expanding, they made tight alliances with sections outside of the Bronx, and one of those sections happens to be located in Harlem, not too far from South Bronx. The Sugar Hill neighborhood is known in the streets as the original Youngins, also known as OY, and once they joined the OG Alliance, they started going by OYOGs. And when this happened, the YGs were not happy, but no one was more upset than RPT, and that introduces us to RPT's new generation leader. A young man named Daniel Collins, also known as D-Thang. Despite being born in 2002, D-Thang jumped off the porch in 2015 at just 13 years old. And from that age, he built up a wild reputation despite being short and scrawny. To many of us at home, he may look like a sweet little boy, but the Bronx knows a whole different story. He, along with his right-hand man, Wu Lottie, started turning everything up in the Bronx single-handedly. Well, I guess that would be quadruple-handedly. And in 2019, D-Thang started his rap career, which would eventually change the Bronx forever. Instead of making general statements, D-Thang dissed his rivals by saying their names in his music. He was not afraid to be disrespectful, and this got him millions of views right out of the gate.
We don't really eat in the Bronx, feel me? If I want to go get some Spanish food or something, go to the op block. No, really, feel me? I go to Harlem, eat, feel me? Shit like that. I don't really eat in the Bronx.
So in return, a rival OY rapper would step up to the plate. That would be E.Baby, and he would start doing the same thing, and instantly all eyeballs were on the RPT versus OY rivalry. Both rappers were completely blowing up going into 2020, but that's when things would start to get serious. April 7th, 2020, Wu Lottie and his fellow RPTs and YGs are walking on 154th Street in Harlem. They record videos about being somewhere they aren't supposed to go.
Call it out, man. This is where we at. Call it out.
The OYs see the live video and pull up right away. And that's when a black van pulls up. 8 men get out and all the YGs start running. But unfortunately, Wu Lottie trips while running down St. Nicholas Ave. And that's when the OYs get him. But it's New York, so you know everyone involved is lacking, and they use a broom and a garbage can. 2 OY.
First, wow, he trips. Damn, that was really like a movie. That was really like a movie for real. He tripped, damn. But rest in peace to him, and rest in peace to everybody else that has that, you know, that died in the video. Rest in peace to everybody. And bro, I had one more thing I was about to say. Oh, bro, it was something important too. I forgot what it was.
Why members would go down for it just a few weeks later. One of which is the best friend of E.Baby and can be seen in all his videos. His nickname is Rundown, and that's due to his reputation of running down on YGs. And after a short hearing, he admitted guilt and was sentenced to 7 years. And quickly after this, E.Baby would drop a song called Rundown Gang, but this would not pan out well for them, especially after a bad decision. An OY named Ty Benji went on live clowning Wu Lottie, and this did not make RPT and YGs happy. June 26, 2020. Ty Benji is standing outside the Wagner houses in Harlem, but that's when a black sedan pulls up. Bam. Directly after, D-Thang would diss Ty Benji in his song. After this, D-Thang would diss Ty Benji in his song. After this, D-Thang kept blowing up and being even more disrespectful in his songs. However, little did he know NYPD was building a case on him the entire time. And on May 25th, 2022, they officially indicted the entire RPT. 34 members at once and bail for no one. In fact, D-Thang is facing 151 years. For what, you may be wondering? Possession. Yup, that's it. He didn't actually do anything, but in New York, it's an extreme risk to have it on you. That's why everyone is lacking so often. So after the RPT takedown, things start to calm down. But unfortunately, it seems like it's back active. In 2022, a young OY rapper named Nadi Osama came out and started dropping RPT and YG diss tracks. And this would not end well for him. July 9th, 2022. Nadi is getting off the train on 137th in Harlem. And that's when a group approaches him. Hopefully this drama can end because there is so much talent on both sides. New York does not play about this and they will give you life for the smallest infraction. I just think it's crazy how you have cities in the country that are completely wild and out of control. Then you have New York where you can't get away with anything. But what do you guys think? Is New York City the most secure city in the country? But I hope you guys enjoy.
Hey, I will say, at this and stuff and all that, that's nothing to play with, for real. A lot of people gotta understand that, man. Rest in peace to everybody, man. Dang. Well, if y'all want more of this, I'll drop it because I'm interested. I couldn't even think of the word. I'm interested. But yeah, hope y'all did enjoy this video. I really did enjoy this. It was crazy. But yeah, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, stay safe, stay blessed, continue following your dreams, and yeah, thank y'all. I love y'all. I'm out. Peace.